welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our category 1 riders, in green our category 2, in blue category 3 and category 4 in red. The leading group of riders, Fenderic, Spratt, Moreno and Giuliano are still clear. Not only are they still clear, they've extended that gap. They now have 23 seconds.
4 riders in category 3, they've been clear for around 10 kilometres now. The pack has not caught them and not brought them back. They're on the climb, they're on the yellow feet. And Ryan Giuliano and Nicholas Spratt seem to be pulling away. Someone who's getting it right at the moment, and that's Jason Osborne, but he's got a shadow. It's Said Safra Zaidi at the moment on his wheel. Osborne's gone for a long one, doing what Osborne does. He did this last night, he's doing it today, but today he's got company.
This is the banner in front and it's Cridland who kicks first. Cridland has got the power, 15.5 watts the kilo as he kicks into this. Cridland gets the timing right, he's got the power, he takes the win.
Buammer is going to see that UCI banner. Is he going to make it to the line? I think he is. Buammer caught the leader in the category 4 race. Can Betty hold it? That's the banner, that's the UCI banner. Can Giselle Betty hold the chasing pack? They are coming at pace, but Giselle Betty is going to take the win today on the Sunday Race Club in Belgium, and there's going to be a battle for second, third and fourth, but there's no battle for first because Carsten Mayer has ridden away from the category 3 race field. That's the UCI banner. Carsten Mayer, your winner for the October final on the Sunday Race Club.
Madame, messieurs, bonjour, ravi de vous retrouver sur MyWhoosh pour ce Sunday Race Club catégorie au départ, la catégorie 4 en rouge, les bleus de la catégorie 3, la catégorie 2 en vert et bien sûr la catégorie 1 en jaune avec les rouges qui vont ouvrir le bal.
300 mètres et David Molano qui nous offre ici du mouvement de course, les Colombiens qui le Colombien qui passe une petite accélération et nous les voyons là, tous les 4 grands outsiders. Zagner qui nous fait signe, Daniel Turek qui avait reçu hier une wild card pour participer sur la gauche, le coureur tchèque qui a fait un sprint formidable.
Jonathan Cridland et Horsley. Jonathan Cridland qui produit son effort à du 12 watts par kilo, c'est très puissant et il va aller chercher la victoire. Jonathan, quoique, ça va être chaud car l'arrivée est là, hein. L'arrivée est là et Buammer va gagner. Buammer va aller chercher la victoire. C'est pas encore fait, hein. Il y a encore quelques mètres. Maintenant, les 200 derniers mètres. Buammer a du 7 watts par kilo. C'est bon, ça passe.
Va-t-il tenir à 200 mètres? Et oui, il semble que ce soit une victoire brésilienne pour Giselle Betty. Magnifique victoire. Tapis rouge pour lui, il reste 200 mètres. C'en est presque terminé. Allez, l'effort, encore une petite partie là à 10%. Mais il sait qu'il a le temps, il a 1 minute d'avance. A de quoi savourer. Très très belle victoire de Carsten Mayer. C'est le tout premier à passer la ligne d'arrivée au sommet de Jabal Afit.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مشاهدينا الكرام متابعينا في كل مكان، أهلا وسهلا بكم مع الانطلاقات الأربعة والفئات الأربعة. الفئة باللون الأحمر، الفئة الرابعة والفئة الثالثة بالأزرق، والفئة الثانية باللون الأخضر، والأولى باللون الأصفر. الجميع يلوح الآن، أبو عامر يلوح أيضا بيده في هذه اللحظات. يعطيك العافية أبو عامر يا نجم، شكلك متحمس اليوم، نتمنى لك إن شاء الله التوفيق. تحديدا كما ذكرنا بطل العالم هذه السنة للرجال لابد أن يكون من هؤلاء الذين ينتمون إلى هذا التطبيق المميز الإماراتي، تطبيق مايوش. أبو عامر الآن الثالث يا أبو عامر، لا تفوتها يا أبو عامر، يلا يا أبو عامر. هذا كيفن هورسلي البريطاني، يلا يا أبو عامر، يا الآن تستطيع أن تخرج. كل ما لديك من قوة يا أبو عامر. 7.7. يلا يا أبو عامر. وهذا جوناثان الآن يتقدم. أبو عامر بالمركز الرابع، والمحاولة الآن الدخول. جوناثان المركز الأول، أبو عامر المركز الأول. الدخول، النهاية 100 متر أخيرة. هذه النهاية الآن، الفئة الرابعة. أبو عامر رصاصة الإماراتية تخترق خط الوصول. أبو عامر جوزين البرازيلي ينطلق الآن بانطلاقة سريعة، يدخل الآن في آخر 200 متر. المحاولة قادمة من الخلف من دافيد الآن. دافيد نايتكو. هذا دافيد نايتكو الآن ينطلق بانطلاقة صاروخية، إنه يقترب كثيرا. الفوز هنا أيضا لجوزين. كارستن ماير ينطلق الآن، يحقق الفوز في آخر 100 متر على قمة جبل حفيد. ينتقم الآن من الجميع. نعم، ينتقل إلى النكست ليفل بالأداء. هو يصل إلى النهاية. كارستن ماير إذا بطلا للفئة الثالثة وأول الواصلين. كارستن ماير بطلا للفئة الثالثة.
Hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. This is qualifier race number 1 for November. With me, Emma Martin, my co-host who's normally with me, Matt Payne, a little bit under the weather at the moment, no voice. Well, it's very quiet in the studio with just me in here, but the racing is not going to be quiet at all, because if the women's race is anything to go by, it is going to be non-stop action today for qualifier race number 1. Well, we are heading to Australia and the Wollongong course. Now, it's been some time since we've been on the Wollongong course in the men's race field. In fact, it was qualifier 3 in May. 45 kilometres of racing, 704 metres of climbing. And you can see it in front of you. It is, 3 ascents of the Wollongong climb, and the final ascent up the top, that's where the finish line is going to be. So it is laps of Wollongong City. You come through the city beach sprint 3 times up the Wollongong climb. And well, that final time, as we said, that's where the checkered flag is, and it's steep. So the Wollongong climb, 1.9 kilometres in length, an average gradient of 5.1%. Now, that's deceptive because you can see it very clearly on your screen. It kicks up, it descends into the valley, and then it goes again. On the first kicker, it goes to around 11%. On the second kicker, it gets to nearly 18% in places. It is so steep. But our men, well, they climb it really quickly. The fastest time, Michael Kaminsky, 3 minutes, 35 seconds. That's what we're looking at. But Kaminsky, part and parcel of Category 1. They will be the last riders to go today in yellow. Category 2 in green, Category 3 in blue, and Category 4 in red. Well, it's going to be Category 4 who start first today. Then 5 minutes till Category 3 start. So Category 1, well, this is a packed field. Can I just say, before we even start today, 193 men on the start sheets today for the Sunday Race Club. In Category 4, the teams, BMC Racing, Level Avengers, Level Up, the Mighty Ducks, Spinergy. The teams just keep coming. There are 10 of them in Category 4. So the Desert Falcons are also here. The Anzacs, Triple M, upcycled. You know, these riders are down on this start line. So Horsley is here, who took first place last week. Abello took second. Cridland took third. Winfield took fourth. And Zimmel took fifth place. They are all here today alongside an absolutely stacked field. So we're in with Brendan Phelan at the moment. Brendan Phelan in the mix from Ireland in this pack, this huge pack. 62, yeah, I'm going to say that again. 62 Category 4 riders today on the start sheets, and lots of new names amongst those who have been with us for a long time. So Scott Francis is here, Ola Warren is here, Florian Dromard is here, Adriano Zanaska is here, Xavier Maillard, Brian White, Boo Amma, the riders that we've seen week in, week out. John Wakefield comes into Cat 4. Joshua Callangard is here. Gavaria, Cronje, Bertrand, Teron, Driscoll, Pruce. Just a packed field. And take a look at the size of that group coming out the start pen. They're coming out fast. And it's James Robinson on the front at the moment with Boo Amma setting a strong pace. And they're up over 40 kilometres an hour already. One long stretch group on the road. Now, the graphic on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen really does show you what is happening to the group. One rider just distance off the front, but the group now squeezing back together because the pace is coming off slightly. So the pace comes off slightly as they sweep round the left-hand bend. They're going to do the run into the city. Now, this is a start for all 4 of our race categories. The course, obviously the same for every category, just a different start time. So category 4 starting first, category 3 5 minutes later. Then there's a 10-minute gap before category 2 starts, and then a further 5-minute gap to category 1. So 20 minutes separating the starts of category 4 to category 1 today. So the pack now coming in towards the city. And this is the first technical feature on the course today. So the first 1.2, 1.3 kilometres fairly flat. Then they take this sweeping right-hander onto the bridge over the water. And you can see on the top right-hand corner of your screen the graphic that shows you the gradient facing our riders. Currently at 1.1%. The riding pack is the yellow vertical line coming into the climb at the moment as the gradient starts to kick 5%, 6%. It will go to 7%. The pack now really starting to stretch. We've seen 1 or 2 riders dropped off the back, and it's these small climbs that really do the damage and can really be places to attack. And the pace, Mohamed Mukhtari, the pace that he put in there, that was a sprint up that climb. Brian White responding, Kevin Horsley paying attention, Navarro as well, Callangard. You know, you really have to recce these Sunday race club routes and know where the potential attacks are going to come, because it's not about going off the front of the race necessarily. It's about not going out the back of the race and being able to stay and position yourself in the right place for what may come. So White, Horsley, Amma, Mukhtari, Robinson, Callangard, Warren and Wakefield, the riders at the front of the race at the moment. But take a look at the tail on the bottom left hand corner of your screen, the long line of red dots on that screen indicating where those category 4 riders are. Well, they are continuing to motor now into the heart of Wollongong City. Amma, Horsley, White, Robinson, Warren, Wakefield, Callangard, Mukhtari are the riders on the front of the pack, and the rest of them are still squeezing on those pedals, trying to get back on. Well, category 4 well and truly underway and really motoring on the course today. Category 3 in the blue jerseys, you can see them waiting in the start pens at the moment. They will be the next race field underway today. Well, category 3, 46 riders on the start sheets today in category 3, so a much smaller race field than category 4, but, well, it never disappoints. The Aotearoa Alliance are here, Yeast and Squilari, Level Racing, Allport and Solly, Level Racing Elite Peterson, Holtz as well is here as well, Batty for NBAD, and then Ridley, Spratt and Kansara. Take that. Well, they are back again. So take that, a phenomenal performance in the final last week, taking the win from the Gold Grabbers. 55 seconds separated those 2 race teams in that final last week. The top 3 riders' scores being added together in terms of time for that competition. Well, that's one competition. This is another as category 3 are go. The green light, well, category 3 now away on the Wollongong course in Australia for qualifier race number 1 on the Sunday Race Club. It's the 3rd of November. Well, they're racing week in, week out, and it just doesn't stop. So Batty leading this out at the moment. Deleuze is there as well as Allport. Rossoli is in the mix. Moreno is here. Kansara. Ivanov is there as well. Really great to see Bristolin, Marin, Giuliano in the mix as well. Kisnowski. So the riders all in the mix here. It's Allport on the front of the pack, getting the pace up to speed. So Luke Allport coming to the fore today, absolutely motoring on the front of this category 3 pack. Let's get this party started. Allport being matched by Pinot. In fact, let's just jump in. There you go. We're in with Allport at the moment. Resplendent in that kit. Love a little bit of a flash of colour on your kit. Don't want to be plain. Don't want to be dark. You want to be a bit bright and vibrant. Well, in my world anyway. So Luke Allport, Damon Kliasnowski, the riders at the front of this group at the moment. But the group pretty much rolling all together. Pino is there, Kansara, Peterson, Marin, Squillari, Pulgarin is in the mix too. Really interesting to see the riders paying attention, because everyone knows what Luke Allport can do and what he's like, and everybody knows that Allport is not afraid to go for it off the front. So paying close attention to Allport at the moment. Niall Batty down in his pain cave as well. That looks like to be a little underground number going on there. So Niall Batty in the mix. This is going to be an interesting course, I think, for Niall, because these climbs are short and they're sharp, and he does love a good climb. We really saw him come to the fore when we were on the endurance climb on the Sunday Race Club, and some of our riders, very, very strong climbers, others punchers, rulers, others massive sprints on them, and something for everybody on the Sunday Race Club, and different courses very much suiting different people, and expecting, I would imagine, some close racing today. So we were here on Qualifier 3 in May, and let's just take a little look, shall we, at what happened in Qualifier 3 in May on the Wollongong course for the men, because the win was in Category 1. Vujasin, Paradians, Kaminsky, Osborne, Van Elst. It was 66 minutes that the race was won. Mendakowicz, Dont, Gallo, X100 and Krasnich took Category 2. A number of those now having gone up to Category 1. So Mendakowicz and Dont up there now in Cat 1. Great to see the progression. Category 3, it was Oviedo, Moreno, Agadello, Diduch and Kansara. Interestingly, we're in with Nicol Kansara at the moment. I'm sure he's thinking this is a course for him. In Category 4, it was Neville, Ross, Connell, Valencia, Winfield and Allport. And as you will see by the fact we've already talked about Luke Allport in Category 3, the majority of those riders have actually progressed up a category. So great to see the performances improving of our riders and racers on the Sunday Race Club, and then being rewarded with a little bit of a manoeuvre in the categories, and moving up and moving down. So really interesting to see. In fact, Carsten Mayer from Category 3, who took the win in the final last week, moving up. That's fabulous to see. So moving up to Category 2. It's going to be interesting to see how he goes today in Cat 2. Well, Category 4 are the first riders out of the pen, and they're already through the first sprint section today. Now, you can see the green skin suit in the red jersey pack at the moment. That's not because a different category has got mixed in. That's because Diego Navarro is indeed leading the sprint competition in Category 4. So green skin suit awarded to the leader of the sprint competition in each of our 4 categories. The polka dot skin suit, once we have been up the Wollongong climb for the first time, will be awarded to the fastest climber in the competition, and we will indeed have a polka dot skin suit and a green skin suit in each of the 4 race fields. Well, Jeff Rooney on the bike, you can see in New Zealand at the moment. Strong racer in Category 4, regularly putting in phenomenal performances, great performances, and seeing him in the top 5 or very, very close. So always great to see him racing and putting in some great performances. So Rooney, really, really strong rider and a very committed rider. Never want to be dropped off in a group without trying to fight hard to get back on. So Callangad, Carvajo, Gomez, Rooney, Mukhtari, Cridland, Mayard, those are the top of the pack at the moment. They're the ones covering the front of the group. And you can see the graphics across your screen. If you're new to the Sunday Race Club, the riders highlighted in blue are the ones whose stats we're seeing. So Henry Yeast at the moment is highlighted in blue on the rider line. It's his stats we're seeing: 414 watts, time elapsed, heart rate and cadence. We're also seeing Henry Yeast in the pop-up corner on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Great to see Henry on our screens at the moment. And it's always great to get a little window into the worlds behind the avatars. So Henry Yeast tightly in the group at the moment. They're at 4.1 kilometres. You can also see on the screen, on the bottom left-hand corner of the main screen, that's the sort of satellite navigation view of where the riders are going. And you can see the corners coming up ahead. And on the top right-hand corner of your screen, that's the gradient the riders are about to face. So currently the gradient 3.8%, but they're just about to go over the brow of the hill and drop onto the descent. Now, of course, through Wollongong, constantly changing gradient, and if you actually add up the gradient of the red segmented climbs, and then you look at the total gradient of the rest of the course, it's pretty equal. Interesting, constantly changing gradients, and it really does create interesting racing and quite surprising racing. No spoilers, but we definitely saw some interesting attacks. And we also saw some interesting closures of gaps in the women's race earlier on today. You can take a look at that on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel or on MyWhoosh Live on Twitch TV. And always great to go back and catch up if you've missed it, because the women's racing, absolutely fantastic. They too were in Wollongong today on the 35-kilometre Australian course, and always great to catch up and see what a world champion is doing shortly after they've won that World Championships, and Kate McCarthy part and parcel of that race today. Well, category 3 at the moment is Nicholas Hagland we are in with at the moment. Just a 4-rider off the front at the moment. So Lawrence Spratt, Hagland and Moreno just hanging off the front of the group at the moment. That category 3 pack, we've seen 1 or 2 riders get dropped from it. But the 46-man riders group that was in that start pen earlier, now we're seeing a little bit of a push here. And the pace just coming off from Johan Moreno on the front of the group, not really actually wanting to cement an attack. Now going underneath the green arch, signifying the start of the sprint. This is the City Beach sprint, and Nielsen and Navarro in category 4 at the moment hold the fastest time. Well, Nielsen holds the fastest time with an average watts of 8.1 watts per kilo. He really wanted to take that sprint from the Desert Falcon squad. Diego Navarro from BMC Racing just rolling through behind. Now the category 3 pack, we've just seen the leaders come through, and the Adam Treshow, you can see him there in that green jersey, that green skin suit at the moment, saying the fastest time in category 3, but not as fast as Nielsen in category 4. So the category 4 rider still holding the fastest time overall in the first sprint. So category 3 and category 4's race is now well underway. Category 2 are going to be the next category out of the start pen, whilst category 1, well, they've still got a little while to wait yet. So category 2 in the green jerseys, 54 riders on the start sheets today, 5 teams, level racing. Or should I say level NSA Racing, because the level racing squad have multiple teams, Rushna and Besady. MyWhoosh Werewolves, we've got Graves, Winfield, Theme and Walter. The UAE Clan team, X100, Popovic and SS. And then What's Up, Vocek and Clays. So interesting to see what happens with the teams, and great to see them staying together and holding together, and the formation of those teams now holding through the qualifying weeks, because the team competition doesn't come into play until the final race of the month. And for November, 3 qualifying races before that final, and you need 2 qualification races to qualify. Still time if you're thinking about it. You can head over to the MyWhoosh website, have a look at the events page and click on the Sunday Race Club Everything you need to know is there. Well, these riders have read the rule book, they've read the technical guide, they know what they're doing, they're verified, they've done power passports, they're dual recording, and they are racing. And up and racing they are. The Category 2 riders out of the start pen, and there's a tail on the group already. 1 or 2 riders just getting caught out by the pace, and there's a strong pace on the front. I can tell you that because X100 has done a bit of an all-port and gone hard out of the pen. So X100 pushing on and pushing on hard, really wanting to make this a select group from the start. So X100 being marked by Jonas Bjarhed. Bjarhed closing the gap and bringing Miller Stick with him. Angarita Reyes is in the mix as well. So is Iran Arago. So great to see the riders closing it down, and Bjarhed now goes up and over the top of X100 and pushes on. In fact, we've just seen a kick from X100 of 10 watts per kilo to get back onto Bjarhed's wheel. A Category 2 race up and well and truly underway in the first 900 metres of this race. It's not going to be won in the 900 metres, but I tell you something, it could be lost because the group is stretched so far back. It's a phenomenal fast pace, and they've not even come into the bridge yet. They're currently just getting onto it. They're going to take the left, they're going to take the right, and then it's going to ramp. And well, if this pace is anything to go by, the riders are really going to have to pay attention, because Graves and Brune coming up to the fore, they know what is coming. So is Peter Milostic, knows what is coming. In fact, there is Jonas Bjarhed right at the head of the race on his bike, in his garage, on the turbo, because this is so fast paced. I think we're going to see a split here, and I'll tell you something, you need to be on the right side of it. Making sure you're on the right side of any split in this Category 2 group. Absolutely crucial today. Matthias Vanhe, well, he's making sure he's in the right place. He's with X100 Gates. He's with Theme, Brune, Winfield. These riders all at the front of this pack. Bjarhed is there. And I tell you something, the Category 2 riders were ready for a fast start today, because look at the numbers. There is a split in the group, but well, there are 2 splits in the group, and the question is, can the first split come back together again? I think it is. In fact, we're starting to see one rider just drop across. Are we going to see the others? Because you can see on that bottom left-hand corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe only 4 or 5 riders getting distance from the group. So they knew what was coming and they've prepared for it. And Category 2, the pack is rolling over the other side of the bridge. So Category 2 rolling into Wollongong City. Category 3 at 9 kilometres are heading towards the foothills of the Wollongong climb. Category 4, well, at 11.1 kilometres, they're 500 metres from the summit. We're in with Bu Amur at the moment on that Category 4 shot, and you can see the pack. Well, there's a small pack down the road. Well, as the riders in the categories 2, 3 and 4 continue to push on in the race, we can see the overhead shot of Category 2 as they're sweeping through the city at the moment. But it's Category 1 sat in the start pens awaiting the green of go. So Category 1 today, 31 riders on the start sheets today. And I tell you something, we have, well, I'll tell you what we've got in a minute, but we've got 3 teams on the start sheets. Alphajor, Turek, Talbot, Jacin and Kaminsky, hard to guard, Martins and Van Elst, the Wenger boys, Jacobs, Panitza and Dvert. And I tell you something that those 3 teams have all got in common today. The return of Michael Vink. Well, for those of you who have historically followed the Sunday Race Club, you will know all about the qualities of Michael Vink and the fact that doing a Vink became a phrase before doing an all-port, and Vink often pushing away from the Category 1 pack, but he has not been here on the Sunday Race Club for a long, long time. And Arnie Jacobs, well, he's prepping, you can see just down there before the start, checking everything is working, checking it's all good, and the are about to see the green of go. We are in with Michael Vink, and he's on the start sheets, he's on the start line, and he's away with the pack. Well, Christoph Kohl, Jasper Paradians, Johan Nuren, Lyndon Milostic. Now, Milostic, young rider, really, really strong, came up from category 2 a couple of months ago after some really, really strong performances, had his first top 5 in category 1 last week in the October final on the Jebelhof. He finished in 4th place. Phenomenal performance from the young rider, and I hope he takes a lot of confidence in his performance from that top 5 and we see more of him in the future. Now, a number of riders not here today. Vujasin is, and you can see him on the screen, resplendent in that Alpha Jaw kit. Right at the 4 of the race at the moment, Panitsa, Pucker, Vujasin, Dvert, Paradians, all dialing it on the front at the moment. Look at the stretch on that category 1 pack. They've not even done 1,000 meters at the moment, but boy, is it hard out there. Michael Vink's on the start line. Well, let's show him what we've got. Well, I'll tell you what else people have got, because Kaminsky finished in 5th place last week in the final. Milostic in 4th. Plantero in 3rd. There is no Jason Osborne today on the start sheets and no Said Safrazadi, the guys who took 1st and 2nd last week. Mikel Plantero is there. Now, he had a really strong race last week and it was great to see Plantero finish in 3rd place. It's an interesting course today and it's going to be interesting to see who it suits in that race field in category 1. At the moment, category 2 are coming up to the 5 kilometre mark and is a big, big field in category 2 to start with, 54 riders, but that's not our biggest field today. Well, we talked about the young rider, Lyndon Milostic, and we talked about the fact he had his first top 5 last week. He's right on the front. He doesn't want to get dropped. He knows this is a danger selection point and he's gone out and given himself some sliding room and he's making the action rather than waiting for it to come to him. Great to see the young rider really, really dialing it. Kaminsky, Vujasin and Martins, the riders doing the chasing and closing the gap down at the moment. Now, unlike the women's race, we don't finish at this point in the men's race. We finish at the top of the Wollongong climb for the 3rd ascent. Well, Kaminsky, you can see him back in his normal pain cave, not in the hotel where he was last week following the World Championships, but Kaminsky, part and parcel of the group, paying close attention. Pucker, Paradians, Kroll, Plantero, Mare, Allenjung, Koinstenen, Vink, all paying attention to what is happening at the moment because it is a nasty, nasty start within that first 2 kilometres. They are all pretty much together. 1 or 2 riders just dropped off the back. And in fact, I think that was Masiek Domain Dakowitz that was dropped off the back of the group on category 1. Well, category 1 out of the start pen. Category 2 going through the first sprint, the first time through the City Beach sprint. Nielsen from category 4 was holding the fastest time until category 2 went through. And I can tell you that Karlström, now resplendent in a green skin suit, not a green jersey, now has the fastest time. So Patrick Karlström in the mix there, right on the front of the group, saying the fastest time, the new fastest time through the sprint section. SS in 2, then Nielsen from category 4. So he's just been knocked off the top spot slightly. Well, Ivan Nuki, we can see him in his pain cave on the bottom of the screen. He's part and parcel and tightly in the pack. He took the win in category 2 last week. Fabulous performance from him. Carsten Mayer has come up from category 3 into category 2, so that's great to see. And Karlström has moved up as well, so really, really interesting to see what those riders can do. Thiem was indeed 3rd last week. Krasnich was 2nd. Betty was 4th, and Nitko was 5th. Not all of those riders are on the start sheets today because not everybody needs to ride every weekend. We didn't indeed mention you need 2 qualification races, verified qualification races, to qualify for the finals each week. And with 3 or 4 some months, some of the riders choosing to opt in and opt out, some being pretty much ever present. And that is a feat in itself. So Vink, Mare, Martins, Pucker, Vujasin, all right here. So is Seb Dvert, Jasper Paradines, Tatu Koinstinen is here, Ricardo Panizza are all in the mix and all in the group now, rolling steadily around 45 kilometres an hour through the city of Wollongong. They'll slowly be working their way through the city beach sprint and then out towards the Wollongong climb, coming at the 9.7 kilometre mark into this course. Now, Category 2 started 5 minutes ahead of Category 1, and you can see they're at 7.2 kilometres versus the 4 kilometres of Category 1. And well, we've continued to see quite a lot of action in the Category 2 race. And X100 is off the front with Mark Gates and Cam Winfield doing the chasing. Category 3 at 12.8 kilometres and Category 4 at 15.8. So you can see the difference on the road that those time gaps on the start pens have made. Well, Category 4 at 15.9 kilometres are well and truly up and over the first Wollongong climb and rolling through now and out. And it's looking like we've got a group maybe of around 11 riders up the road. And this is the chase group at the moment. In fact, you can see a number of different groups. You can see this chase group here, then there's 2 riders, and then there's the leaders at the moment up ahead. So Warren, Cridland, Callangad and Rooney, Carvahoe are all part of this chase group. The leading group and a small chase group are further up the road at around 22-24 seconds. So Dadson and Stretting are part and parcel of that chasing group further up the road. It's going to be an interesting Category 4 race. In Category 3, where you can see they are all over the road now, they've gone up and over the Wollongong climb for the first time, and you can see it really has done some damage to the group in Category 3. Henry Yeast right at the front, Nick Scolari is there, Conrad Fenderich is in the mix, and that's going to be an interesting race as well. Well, I tell you something, Lyndon Millistick is not giving up here today because he's on the front again. He's absolutely nailing it. So the pace at the moment from Millistick, they're rolling at around 48 kilometres an hour off the front of the group, and slowly the group is, well, they're dropping riders. We've dropped another rider off the back, and Millistick at 3 seconds at the moment. He's hanging off the front of the group and he's continuing to push, and well, anyone would think he's thinking the way to get better here is just to ride hard, and well, it's working for him. That's what I can say. So Linda Millistick in Category 1 going through the City Beach Sprint, but not really picking up the pace, and this is not going to contest for the fastest time. So no contest at all from Category 1 for the fastest time on the City Beach Sprint. No, Millistick rolling through at a strong pace, actually, putting him in 6th place. Kaminsky coming through in 8th, but all about Patrick Karlstrom moving up from Category 3 to Category 2 after a strong performance last week in 2nd place in that Category 3 race. So 20 seconds, 0.242, the fastest time from Patrick Karlstrom from Category 2. His Category 2 compatriot SS coming through in 2nd place. Then Nielsen, who set the fastest time early on, just being pipped into 3rd. Category 3, Treshow and Spratt come through. Then it's Millistick from Category 1, Pino from Category 3, Kaminsky from Category 1, Stenman and Bjarhead from Category 2. So all 4 categories represented in the top 10 times coming through that sprint. Well, one of the joys of setting the fastest time in Category 1 on the sprint is the fact that Lyndon Millistick now holds the green skin suit in that category. And the rider's now really going to have to watch, because the second he starts catching the riders in Category 2 ahead, and you can see Wojciech is just 39 seconds up the road, that green skin suit is going to make him a bit, well, hidden. amongst the Category 2 pack, because a green skin suit, a green jersey, a quick flick of the eye, and you're not quite sure what you're seeing, and Millerstick may well get away. Well, there is always hope for a breakaway in Category 1, but Karlstrom at the moment, he's in the green skin suit in Category 2, and you can see the effort and the work going on from Patrick Karlstrom to be in the mix, and in the mix he is, and it's a huge group of Category 2 riders. They're on the first part of the Wollongong climb. They are climbing the steep slopes at the moment. They're about to drop over the top, and the pack has not split at all. It's stretched, but it's not split. Well, X100 is on the front of the Category 2 race. I'm not surprised. Always comes to the fore on the climb. Wants to give himself a bit of sliding room if he needs it. It's a great tactic to use sometimes, but X100 goes over the top. Josel Betty is in 2 behind him. Betty, a strong racer. Finished 4th in the final on the Jebel Feet last week. And interestingly, Category 2 last week, the Wattage Warlocks took the win from Rule 5. And I tell you something, it was a seriously close race, because the Wattage Warlocks took the win by 2.4 seconds from Rule 5 in Category 2. And when you bear in mind it's the top 3 times that are added together from the fastest riders in the teams, it tells you how close that Category 2 race was. Well, Lyndon Millerstick still out front at the moment and doing a sterling job with that push on at the moment. He's got 17 seconds now on the group behind, and I tell you something, they need not to think the young rider is not to worry about, and they need to start getting themselves sorted, because Millerstick is a strong racer and driven from that great performance last week. So Category 1, 8.5. Category 2, well, they're now really on the steep slopes of the Wollongong climb at 11.2, and the pack's still rolling very, very strongly. Category 3 at 17.7 are coming onto the bridge and back into the city again. Category 4, the head of the race, 20 kilometres into the race at the moment, and you can see we're in with Adriano Zanaska. That is actually the chase group in Category 4. There are riders further up the road. Well, Linda Millerstick in Category 1 just dialing the pace at the moment. It's going past the back markers in the Category 2 race field already. Only after 12.5 minutes of racing. In the Category 2 race itself, the polka dot banner for the top of the Wollongong climb is coming. Millerstick, however, is going into the base of the climb. He's got around 500 metres to go until he sees the polka dot banner at the bottom of the Wollongong climb for the first time. And at the moment, he has 20 seconds on the chase group in Category 1, which is pretty much the entirety of the rest of the race field. So head down in concentration. Lyndon Millerstick absolutely dialing this into the base of the Wollongong climb, and the rest of the race field not even around the corner at the back of that shot yet, as he goes underneath the polka dot banner onto the Wollongong climb for the first time. Here's the pack coming around the corner, but you know what? I can't see him, and if I can't see him, they can't either. No, there he is. You can just see him moving. No, in fact, it isn't actually. Do you know what? That's a Category 4 rider you can see moving up ahead, because Millerstick has gone past one of the back markers in the earlier race and is now gone up the climb. Well, Con Cairn is in the mix in this Category 2 pack. They've gone over the top of the Wollongong climb for the first time, and you can see the gaps and the spread of Category 2. But this is a big race field, having gone over the top of the Wollongong climb in Category 2. In fact, I'm just taking a very quick look, and I think that must be around 20 riders That's a huge race field. That is just phenomenal. So category 2, the strength and depth of category 2 really coming to the fore. X100 going over the top of the Wollongong climb ahead of Mark Gates, SS, Josel Betty, Matthias Vanhee and Christoph Thiem. Bengston, Winfield, Ospina and Bjarhead are all in the mix. This, however, is the category 1 race, and we are watching Paradians, Kroll, Vujasin, Pucker, Dvert, all on this climb. Millerstick's 18 seconds still up the road, but the category 2 race field now towards the bottom of the descent. Mohammed El Alami, you can see him in his pain cave. He's right in the mix on this bunch at the moment. Great riding, great racing from the category 2 race field as they continue to roll as a huge pack sweeping back now on they head back in towards the city of Wollongong. Well, Lyndon Millerstick is still out clear at the moment. He's gone up over the first part of the Wollongong climb. He's dropped down into the dell. He's now on to the second part of the climb, and it's at 23 seconds. So absolutely motoring. The young rider is at the front of the category 1 race. Martins, Vujasin, Kroll and Vink doing the chasing, but Millerstick really nailing this race so far. Fabulous to see. Taking the race by the scruff of the neck and giving it a real good shake. Lyndon Millerstick in category 1 at the moment. Category 2, they're at 14 kilometers. Big pack now over the first climb, rolling together. Rolling really strongly, actually, 42 kilometers now, but that's the pack, and that's why a big pack is great. Category 2 pack. Well, interestingly, you can see the big category 2 pack here on your screen in front of you, and riders on the bottom left of your screen just dropped off the back, and it's going to be interesting if they can close down those gaps and get onto the back of this pack, because this pack is not rolling fast. Phil Graves at the moment 1.4 watts per kilo, so this is recovery at the moment. X100's heart rate down to 115. If he gets to around 164, he's absolutely got his eyeballs out. But really interesting to see the recovery of this category 2 race field after such a hard start. You know, they absolutely dialed it at the start of this race, and now just taking a breather, just taking a pause, and maybe one or two of those riders who have been distanced off the back having the possibility and opportunity to get back into the mix. Well, Tord Alanjong in the mix at the moment in the category 1 race. They're on the climb and coming towards the top, and it's absolutely in smithereens at the moment. We went into the bottom of the Wollongong climb with the young rider Lyndon Millerstick off the front of the category 1 pack. But you know what? He's been caught, and he's been caught by Vujasin, Kaminsky and Vink. Now, that's a pack to hang with, isn't it? So if you can stay, you can hang. Well, the fastest time on the Wollongong climb now going to Mikhail Kaminsky, 3 minutes, 28 seconds. And I can tell you, that is the fastest time, because previously it was 3 minutes 35 seconds. So the rider's pushing really hard to bring the young rider Lyndon Millerstick back into the bunch. Kaminsky 3 minutes 28, Lionel Vujasin in 2, Michael Vink in 3, Christoph Kroll in 4, Jasper Paradians in 5, Ricardo Panizza, Seb Dvert, Hayden Pucker, Mikhail Plantero. We start to see some bigger gaps. Arnie Jacobs at 19 seconds. So you can start to see those gaps appearing. And the question is, what can these riders now do on the descent to bring back those gaps? It's where we saw in the women's race riders being able to pull back. And the question is, can Seb Dwert pull back the 12 seconds he's got at the moment on the leading group? Can he pull that back? Well, Henry Yees is at the front of the category 3 race. Conrad Fenderich, Johan Moreno, Dorvan Ellos, Nick Squilari are all there, as well as the group go in and through City Beach Sprint on lap 2. It's going to be interesting to see the size of the group and try and get a check on just how many people there are at the front of this category 3 race. Well, the first group to roll through, 8 riders, 9 riders in the mix here. So That is an interesting call. 9 riders at the front of the Category 3 race. Well, it is getting very interesting. So Squilari, Fenderich, Kirchner, Elos, Giuliano and Edwards, part and parcel of that leading group. There's one rider just off the back, but then it's a huge gap back to the rest of the Category 3 race field. So 9 riders now clear in Category 3. Category 1, it's a very different story because with Vujasin, Milastic, Kroll and Paradians are over the top of the climb and down the other side now. They are absolutely motoring, and some strong climbing that we saw to close the gap down on Milastic. But he's part and parcel now of the leading group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders in that leading group in Category 1. It's been a really hard and fast climb, but now they are on the descent and back now into the flatlands. And I tell you something, Michael Vink is not letting up now. 8 watts per kilo from Vink as he launches an attack on the leading group on Category 1 here. So Vink launches the attack. Kroll is the rider to respond and jump onto his wheel, but Vink continues to push, now backing off of the pace. Christoph Kroll has brought the rest of the pack back onto the mix, and going past Olivier Simmons, a strong Category 2 rider at the moment. The pace of this Category 1 race really moving. So we talked about times earlier on with Mikhail Kaminsky setting a new fastest time up the climb of 3 minutes 28. The fastest time in Category 2 was indeed set by Olivier Simmons back in September, and 4 minutes 1 second. The fastest time in Cat 2. 4 minutes 18 seconds, the fastest time in Cat 3, set by Daniel Tidholm. And 4 minutes 38 seconds, the fastest time in Category 4, set by Niall Batty, who, as we now know, is also in Category 3 and no longer in Cat 4. So you can see the differences in times across the 4 categories in terms of the fastest time up the Wollongong climb. You know, you can have a think about what your time is. You can come out and you can ride this world and set your fastest time. You head over to MyWhoosh.com and download the app if you haven't already. Get riding on the many worlds that are available and the new worlds that are coming. Find your favourite route and, you know, get on board, whether that's just for the pleasure of riding and exploring the world, whether you want to drop into one of the 720 training sessions, workouts that they have, whether you want to join the live coaches from Monday to Friday, or whether you want to join the racing, whether that's the Sunday Race Club, and you can click on that on the events page. But there's also lots of other racing going on as well, from team time trials to vet races to just general come along and have a try stuff. So you can find all that information on MyWhoosh website. You can follow MyWhoosh on social media channels, and the MyWhoosh Facebook page is also a really good place for information about what is going on, and there's a great support group on there as well if you've got any questions. Well, anyone's got any questions about these Category 2 racers' performances at the moment? They're coming up towards the 19-kilometre mark on this race. They'll shortly be going through the City Beach Sprint again, but it's a big pack of Category 2 riders, and they are absolutely motoring on the left-hand side of your screen. On the right-hand side of your screen, well, that was Category 4. They're at 16.9 kilometres into the race. They started first, and they are now on the second ascent of the Wollongong climb. So it is indeed a leading group of 6 riders in that Category 4 race. Abello, Robinson, Cadiz, Lenore, White and Criswasno. And Kevin Horsley doing the chasing at 18 seconds with Mark Dadson and Leonard Carabono. Well, Adriana Zanaska is also in that chase group as well, but this is the leading group. Bello on the front with Robinson and Cadiz. These riders, 4 of them now sweeping round. Brian White just need to put a little bit of a push on the pedals to get back onto the group. They are on the descent onto the transition now, onto the second part of the climb. The kick comes really, really steeply here. This just gets so steep so quick as we're seeing 13, 14, 15, shortly 16, shortly 17% under the wheels of these riders as they come onto the second part of the Wollongong climb. It is just phenomenally steep, this part. It does level a little bit. I say level a little bit. You may go down to 9%. And then it kicks again before the very, very top. But these Category 4 riders doing a sterling job. And it's James Robinson from Great Britain on the front. Daniel Cadiz is there as well. JD Abello. Marsan Kraswanos is there. Brian White is in the mix as well. Kevin Horsley doing the chasing behind because not far back, I tell you, not far back from the leaders of the Category 4 race. Well, it's the leaders of the Category 3 race. They've got Nogueira in there, and they've also got who else have they got? They've also got Vergas in there as well. Vergara Giraldo they've got in there as well. So those are the Category 4 riders in the mix in this pack. But Fenderich is here from Category 3. Yeese is here. Edwards is here. Moreno is here. These are the riders who are riding really very, very strongly in the mix here in this Category 3 leading group. So the Category 3 leading group rolling at the moment. They're rolling as they continue to move up the climb on this Sunday Race Club. It's qualifier race number 1 in November. We're in with Che Holweiler at the moment in the Category 2 pack. Look at the size of the Category 2 pack. They're at 20.9 kilometres. They are some way behind Category 3 and Category 4. But they did indeed start 15 minutes behind Category 4 and 10 minutes behind Category 3. But look at the size of the leading group at 21.1 kilometres. They're going to shortly come into the City Beach Sprint for the second time. And then hopefully we might get a heads up as to what the size of the group is. Well, the groups are rolling and they are very different depending upon the stage of the race that each of the categories are at. Category 1, 18.8 kilometres is Vink and Vuyasin, the 2 riders side by side. They've got a 14-second gap now on Kroll, Panizza, Paradians as well. That's an interesting move. So 2-man breakaway in Category 1. In Category 2, the group is huge. It really, really is. And it's going to be interesting to see when we can get a heads up on just how many riders there are in that group in Category 2. I'm hoping we're going to get a heads up when they go through the next sprint segment. Category 3 and Category 4 already up and over the Wollongong climb for the second time. They really are motoring in those 2 race fields. Well, Category 2 are coming around the right-hand bend. They're going to come into and under the green banner, signifying the start of the City Beach Sprint. We're not seeing anybody push on at the moment, so interesting to see. Well, we are actually. I've just seen SS go at 10 watts per kilo. So someone's going for a sprint. X100 going at 11. So X100 and SS pulling each other through, going for the sprint today and stretching the group. The question is, you need to be really careful because occasionally these 2 just don't stop. And X100 and SS just keep going after the sprint, but the pace now coming off. X100 dropping to 0.1. SS continuing the pace at the moment. Is this a dummy move from the teammates? No, it's not. SS now backing off as well. Peter Millistick watched the move. He watched the move and he closed the gap because he knows what can happen when these 2 get motoring. Well, I'm just doing a little bit of counting there. 24 riders in the leading group in Category 2. I said it was a big group and I said we would get a heads up as to how many were in it when they went through the City Beach Sprint for the second time. 24. So 24 riders in that leading group. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in Category 2 when they go up the Wollongong climb again for the second time. The Category 4 riders are already over the Wollongong climb for lap 2. The Category 3 riders have not quite got to the top yet, but it will not be long, and neither will it be long before our Category 2 riders roll into the base of that climb at 26.3 kilometres. Well, there we go. That is the banner signifying the end of the Wollongong climb, and that's the Category 3 leading group. So Fenderich leading it over with Squilari, Giuliano, Elos, Edwards, Kirchner and Yeast. Fenderich setting the fastest time up there. And interesting to see 7 riders go through. So 7 riders now going through in Category 3. There were 9 at the bottom of the climb, 7 going through together at the top of the climb. So let me just give you a heads up. Conrad Fenderich, Nick Scolari, Ryan Giuliano, Robert Edwards, Dorvin Elos, Paolo Kirchner and Henry Yeast are the 7 riders in the leading group at the head of Category 3. Well, Michael Vink is pushing on at the moment. He's at 21.3 kilometres. He's coming towards the City Beach Sprint for the second time. Vuyasin is sitting closely on his wheel and just closing the gap down and utilising the undulations on the road. You can see the gradient constantly changing at the top right-hand corner of your screen, and Vink absolutely making the most of that. He's been away from the platform for some time, but has ridden on the platform very, very regularly, so he knows exactly what he's doing, and he will have raced, and I know he's raced the Wollongong course before in the past, and he knows these roads well. So does Lionel Vuyasin. He knows these roads well as well. They've got 18 seconds on the chase group of Christoph Kroll behind the other riders in the mix. It's looking like Kroll and some of the Category 1 riders mixed in with some of the chasing Category 2 riders as well that Vink and Vuyasin have passed. But the chase group are not in sight as Vink and Vuyasin go underneath the banner signifying the start of the City Beach Sprint for the second time. The gap now, Millerstick, Kroll, Paradians, they are at around 23 seconds back. So phenomenal attack, phenomenal riding by Michael Vink and Lionel Vuyasin to stay clear and extend their lead. They are coming to the end of the sprint as the chase group pretty much go into the start of the sprint. So it's around 300 metres at the moment, the distance between the leaders in Category 1 and the chase group. Well, the question is, who is going fastest, Vink and Vuyasin or Millerstick, Dvert, Panitsa? Well, that is a good question, and it's going to be answered very shortly because the City Beach Sprint on lap 2, the fastest time set by Peter Connell in Category 3. SS and X100, we saw them pick up the pace in Category 2, second and third. Pino from Category 3 drops into 4th place. Nielsen, who held that time in the first City Beach Sprint, topping into 4th from Cat 4. Labno in there as well. Then Kroll, Kaminsky from Category 1. So the chase group moving faster. Johan Moreno from Category 3 in 9th, and Siebdvert from Category 1 in 10th. So I can tell you that the chasing pack in Category 1 moving faster than the leading 2, but only just. So the question is, can they move fast enough to bring them back? I'm not sure they can. But X100 at the moment doing the business in Category 2. We said it was a 24-man group. And that's a very, very big group in Category 2. So X100 chased by interesting. Jonas Bjarhead is the rider jumping on the chase every time someone goes down the road. Bjarhead obviously on great form and really wanting to make the most of the course today. So X100 down the road, Bjarhead doing the chasing. The rest of that group of 24 riders also in the mix in Category 2. Vuyasin and Vink are the only 2 riders in the mix in Category 1. Well, they are indeed. It's a big chase group behind. And in category 3, Nick Squilari now off the front. So we had 7 riders in category 3 go over the Wollongong climb together in the leading group. Squilari now just hanging off the front of the group. Fendrich in 2. Interesting manoeuvre by Squilari as we see category 2 now come into the second ascent of the Wollongong City climb. So category 2 at 26.6 kilometres into this 45-kilometre race, just going past Nielsen in the green skin suit from category 4, Peter Connell in the blue jersey from category 3, as they continue to push on at the base of the climb in category 2. Nick Squilari, we said he was hanging off the front in category 3. He is, but the group are coming behind. So Elos leading the charge behind with Fenderich and Kirchner, closing that gap back down and making that a group of 7 again. Well, the ranks of that group are swelling because they are picking up riders. You can see 4 riders on the back of the group in red. So as they work their way through the earlier starting category 4 race field, at this point in the course with the pace of this pack, the category 4 riders desperately trying to hang on to the coattails of the riders in front and take a toe in the draft. All perfectly legal, all perfectly allowed, and really makes for some interesting racing on the Sunday Race Club. Well, back in with the category 2 pack, and it's SS now on the front, and Ospina, Nico, Winfield, Downey, all in the mix here. John Brune is here as well. So is Mads Bustner, Holweiler, Bengston. They are all in the mix as this racing just continually fast and furious across all 4 of our race categories. Now, we have 24 riders at the base of the Wollongong climb. They've gone up and over the first section. They've come down into the dell. They're now kicking into the really steep section here. It's going to get to 17, nearly 18% under their wheels. The 24 riders leading category 2 are all still together. Well, strength and depth in category 2 is something we have talked about a lot on the Sunday Race Club, and absolute proof in front of you at the moment as 24 riders go into this climb for the second time. They are still a pack. 1 or 2 riders just really working hard to close that back down on the back of the group, and boy, they are working. One of them just slotting into the group there nicely. The other one just having a few problems, a few issues. It's really challenging. The pace coming off in category 2 now, a little bit of respite and allowing the rider hanging off the back to get back on. But that pack of 24, it's going to be interesting to see where they are at the top. Well, coming into the bottom, it's Vujasin and Vink, the 2 leaders in the category 1 race. And what a lead they now have. 50 seconds. Yep, I'm going to say that again. 50 seconds on the chase group of Panizza, Paradians, Kroll and De Wert. Millerstick is in there as well, the early antagonist in the category 1 race. But Vujasin and Vink took up the mantle and away they have ridden. They're coming into the Wollongong climb for the second time. And up ahead, there are the category 2 riders on the climb, not very far away. So Vujasin leads the charge from category 1 into the Wollongong climb. On the right-hand side of your screen, this is the 24-man group leading category 2. And I can tell you they've just gone over the top of the Wollongong climb. And I'm going to do a double check on my screen when the results come through and give you some exact numbers. But the exact number, well, it's 24. It's still 24. It was 24 at the bottom. It's 24 at the top. And the leaders in the category 2 race. This is going to be phenomenal. That is the only word I can think of. If this comes down to a 24-man race on this climb on the last lap, it is going to be a superb category 2 race. But I can tell you we're starting to see a split in the group, and there is a bit of a split in the group at the back, and 2 riders just getting distance off the back. Now, this is absolute danger territory now, because the momentum of the group on the front is really going to start to accelerate and pick up 45, 47, 49, 54, 57, 60. It's really, really starting to motor, and you really do not want to be distanced in any form or shape off the back of the group. And you can see 1 or 2 riders now getting distance off of that 24-man leading group. It may well work its way down to 22, and it's the descent and the transition from the climb to the descent that will have done the damage, not the climb itself. So you really do have to think about racing up and over the top and onto the descent, and not backing off and not thinking that polka dot banner is the finish line. You've got to go up and over the top on the Wollongong climb, because the descent is so steep. Well, Category 3 leaders at 35.2 kilometres now into the race. 7 riders last time we were in with them. Edwards, Elos, Fenderich, Squilari, Kirchner and Yeast. Giuliano is there as well. One long line at the moment of riders. They are indeed motoring their way through the course. They've got 9.5 kilometres now to go to the finish line in Wollongong. They will come through the City Beach Sprint one last time before they head on to the Wollongong climb for the 3rd time. And let me just remind you that Wollongong climb, 1.9 kilometres in length with an average gradient of 5.1%, but it climbs, it drops, climbs again, and it hits 17.7%. Well, Vujasin and Vink are motoring at the moment. They are on the Wollongong climb for the 2nd time. They're coming towards the top at the moment. They are side by side, neck and neck. And I think extending their lead over the chase group, which I can just see on the screen, whole while apart and parcel of the leading 24 in the Category 2 race, further down the road at 30.4. Let's take a little look, shall we, at what faces our riders on the run-in to the finish today in Australia. Well, on the Wollongong climb, we said 45 kilometres, 704 metres of climbing. And from that 30 kilometre mark, our riders now have the run towards the finish. They come back over the bridge into the city. That's the first main bump that you can see. They then have a rolling section through the city into the City Beach Sprint. Then they transition, they climb, they descend, and then they go into the base of the Wollongong climb for the last time. And you can see very, very clearly the red section to the checkered flag. They climb up, they drop, they climb, and then once the polka dot banner is passed, it's around 500 meters to the finish line, and they are still climbing. Well, let's take a look at some fast times now, because the Wollongong climb on lap 2 nowhere near as fast. Found around 25 seconds slower than lap 1. Michael Vink 3 minutes 51 seconds with Vujasin on his wheel. Great to see Mark Gates setting the fastest time in Category 2. Carlos Ospina, Popovic, Graves, Bengston, Thiem, Van Heat and Betty at the moment rounding out the top 10. The interesting thing will be when the chase group in Category 1 come across the line to see what the gap back is to them, or whether they are climbing quicker than Vink and Vujasin. Well, I can tell you on my screen at the moment, Dvert, Paradians, Panitsa, Kroll and Kaminsky are indeed climbing quicker, and they've set a faster time up the Wollongong climb than Vink and Vujasin. Well, the City Beach Sprint for the last time. These are the leaders in the Category 4 race. Lenador has gone through, Robinson, Cadiz, Abello. 4 leaders now leading. 2 riders dropped off the back of the group, and interesting to see White now at 41 seconds as Lenador now continues to push on. He's in that green skin suit, signifying the fastest sprinter today in Category 4. Abello wearing the polka dot skin suit, signifying he's the strongest climber. And, well, Lenador may well be pushing on here, because when they come into the final climb, the checkered flag is at the top, and Abello, obviously the strongest climber in this group today. So the gap now at 6 seconds in that Category 4 race for Mac Munro Lenador. In the Category 3 race, they're not that far behind, you know. Edwards, Fenderich and Squilari riding strongly at the head of that race. Those 3 riders riding really well. Category 2, 24 riders last time we were in with them at the head of the race. 1 or 2 riders in difficulty. We may now be looking at 20 or 22, but it is still a huge group. Category 1, well, it's all about Vink and Vuyasin today. The 2 riders breaking away from the pack. Dvert, Paradians, Panitsa, Kroll, Kaminsky doing the chasing strongly on the climb, but I think the damage already done by Vink and Vuyasin on the way in. Well, Phil Graves pushing on at the moment in the Category 2 race, trying to light this up. So Graves gone on the attack in Category 2. Melistic is the rider doing the chasing. Matthias Van Heek, Cam Winfield, Christoph Thiem. This is really interesting because these riders, Thiem and Winfield, part and parcel of the MyWhoosh Werewolves, same squad as Phil Graves, but Phil Graves really wanting to animate this. You really do not want, and nobody wants to take 24 like powered riders into the base of the Wollongong climb together. So Phil Graves now doing the business, putting the pedal to the metal and riding away from the group. Graves pushing on, Thiem doing the chasing on the front. Well, I say doing the chasing on the front. He sat on the front, but him and Cam Winfield coming to the front of the group, coming off the pace, coming to the front of the group, coming off the pace. Good teamwork. That's what we like to see in Cat 2, playing it out at the moment as Graves goes down the road. Vuyasin and Vink riding together, riding very strongly here. Interesting to see where those chasers are, but I cannot see them. Now, coming into the flyover, the roll around, and this has often been called the Vink corner because I've seen Michael Vink attack for a winning move at this point in the race and then time trial away from the pack. Well, he hasn't got a pack to time trial away from today. He's just got Lionel Vuyasin, and at the moment it doesn't look like Vuyasin is going anywhere. He's absolutely stuck to the wheel of Michael Vink and Lionel Vuyasin, as we all know, on some phenomenal form at the moment, taking the silver medal in the World Championships last week and absolutely proving that he means business today alongside Michael Vink here on the Sunday Race Club here in Australia. We're on the Wollongong course, and Vink and Vuyasin, well, the lead they have now extended on the chase group in Category 1. Absolutely fantastic. So Vink and Vuyasin have the lead in Category 1. Phil Graves at the moment has the lead in Category 2 from a 24-man group. So Graves pushing on, 8 seconds now clear of the group behind. Van Heath, Thiem, Gates, Winfield, all at the front of that group. And you can see, look at the size of the group. Emmons Fark, the Category 3 rider in that blue jersey, getting swamped, absolutely mobbed like a mob of crows they are, that Category 2 group, as they transition over the bridge and up the climb and into Wollongong City. They've got around 10 kilometres of racing still to go. So 10 kilometres of racing still to go. Phil Graves is out front of this Category 2 pack, absolutely motoring at the moment, and great to see Graves on the attack here. And it's been a while since we've had Phil Graves off the front of the race, and great to see him meaning business and getting back into the action. So Graves pushing on, the chase coming from behind, but, well, up the road at 42.2 kilometres, Mac Monroe Lenador is leading the Category 4 race, and he's 14 seconds clear now of the chasing 3. So Lenador right at the top, chasing 3 behind, but 15 seconds. He's shortly going to come in to the base of the final ascent of the Wollongong climb at 42.9 kilometres. That's where it begins. He's got 400 metres till he gets here, and then the only way to that checkered flag is up. So Nick Scolari, Robert Edwards, Conrad Fenderich, the 3 riders at the moment at the head of the Category 3 race. Now, we had 7 riders at the head of this race before, but these riders now really starting to stretch it. Henry Yeast, I think, is the rider in danger off the back in no man's land. But Fenderich, Scolari, Edwards, the 3 riders we're watching at the moment, really pushing on now. They're at 41.4 kilometres into the race. Day 2 are heading towards the final climb of the Wollongong climb. It's the third time up there. They know what they are facing. They've done it twice before, and they know that the checkered flag is at the top, and the rider in each of the categories who goes over the top of that climb first through the checkered flag, then 500 metres to the finish line, is going to take the win today on the Sunday Race Club. 4 winners, 4 categories, and Phil Graves has been caught in category 2 because X100 from the UAE clan team has come over to his wheel. Well, Peter Milostic is the rider doing the chasing behind. He's at 7 watts per kilo, but I'm not sure he's going to bring these two back because X100 goes straight over the top of Phil Graves. Phil Graves kicks at 6.5 watts per kilo to get back onto X100's wheel. These two could work very, very well together and stay away. They're at 36.7 kilometres. There's still some way to go for Category 2. It's not like it's the latter stages like Category 3 and Category 4, but X100 and Phil Graves working strongly together at the moment. 7 seconds back to the chase group, but Bjarhead and Van He are leading the charge behind. This is a strong group of riders in that chase group, and it's big. Whilst Category 2 battle royale amongst them. Category 4 are coming towards the final stages. They're coming over the top. Well, Mac Munro Lenador is coming over the top of the first part of the Wollongong climb. He's got the descent and then the final part to go. He's 20 seconds ahead of Robinson, Abello and Cadiz. Those are the riders he is working to stay away from. So on Category 3 at 42.6, they're coming into the base of the climb, just 200 metres till they get there. It's Fenderich, Edwards and Squilari, 3 riders away. They are well and truly away. Kirchner and the rest of the pack are behind as they go underneath the polka dot banner, signifying the start of the climb. And you can see the riders absolutely motoring through there. The blue jerseys, the blue dots, really signifying the racing here. So the riders working really strongly, and Category 2 and Category 1, the last two race fields, should I say, out of the start pens today. Category 2, X100 and Graves are at the front of the race at the moment at 38 kilometres. There's a big chase going on behind, but the chase is now over 10 seconds back. There were 24 riders in that leading group before Graves attacked it, so I reckon there must be about 15 riders in that chase group right now. Category 1 is all about Vink and Vujasin. Michael Vink and Lionel Vujasin broke away from the field, and they are now nearly a minute clear of the chase group being led by Jasper Paradians. So Paradians leading the charge behind, but he's nearly a minute back. Christoph Kroll is with him. Mikhail Kaminski is with him as well. Last count, Sieb Dvert was there. And it was those 5 riders doing the chasing. Mikhail Plantro was in contact as well. But I say in contact, they're in contact with the chase group, not in contact with Vink and Vujasin. It is nearly a minute, the time gap now. So 600 metres to go. It is Mac Munro Lenador on the climb in Category 4. Broken away from the group and pushed on. It was a group of 6. It became a group of 4. Then Lenador pushed on and rode clear. The rider here we are in with at the moment, coming towards the top of the Wollongong climb. JD Abello in 2. James Robinson in 3. Those 2 riders have now dropped Daniel Cadiz on the climb. Kevin Horsley is climbing strongly behind, and really starting to motor up the climb behind. But I think whilst he might secure 5th place, he's left it too late to move up any further, though Jonathan Cridlin is doing a great job as well as Marcus Calvajo too. But I don't think anybody in Category 4 is going to catch Mac Munro Lenador, who is charging now towards the polka dot banner. Not far behind on the road, it's Category 3. They're on the left-hand side of your screen. And Fenderich, Edwards and Squilari, the 3 riders leading that Category 3 race. Well, it's got 200 metres to go, and Lenador is going to see the finish line today. Abello, 24 seconds back. Robinson, Cadiz, Horsley, they will come through the line to make the top 5, but no one can catch Mac Munro, Lenador today. He's in the polka dot skin suit. He's resplendent on the Carlago. Well, actually, the polka dot skin suit's just been taken off him because Abello's come across the line. But who cares? Lenador doesn't, because he's going to see the UCI banner signifying the end of qualifier race number 1 for November on the Sunday Race Club. Mac Munro Lenador is going to come across the line and take the win today in Category 4. So your winner in Category 4 for qualifier 1 for November, Mac Munro Lenador, takes the win today. Well, the race is on behind, and Abello is having a battle with Robinson at the moment. The two riders, Abello is pushed in and put the kick in, but Robinson's not responding. So JD Abello will come across the line for second place today in Category 4. James Robinson comes across the line for third, and well, the battle is on for fourth place in Category 4, but the battle is also on for first place in Category 3. Well, we just dropped very, very quickly in. Vinkovu Yasin still together. 57 seconds back is the gap. In Category 2, on the right-hand side of the screen, Yozo Betty has caught X100 and Graves. Theme, Van He, Keradine, all in the group, now 12 seconds back. Interesting manoeuvre from Betty, closing that gap down to Graves and X100. That tells me he's feeling strong. Well, Conrad Fenderich is feeling strong as well, because he goes underneath the polka dot banner first in the Category 3 race, but he's got Edwards and he's got Squilari not far behind. This now is all about timing to the finish line as Fenderich comes past Rooney. Jeff Rooney from the Category 4 race inside the top 10 in that Category 4 race, but Fenderich now moving through towards the finish line as we see the fifth place rider in the Category 4 race come across the line, Kevin Horsley. But it's all now about Conrad Fenderich. Can he be caught in the Category 3 races in the polka dot skin suit at the moment? Mark Dadson is coming. Dadson's coming strongly from behind. Jeff Rooney, Nick Squilari. Nick Squilari is the closest Category 3 rider, but it's Conrad Fenderich in Category 3 takes the win. Nick Squilari is going to come through for second place today. Robert Edwards will take third in that Category 3 race. Boy, that was good racing. So Category 3 and Category 4 riders over the line now. As Yozel Betty just says, I'm a bit tired now. I just got to stretch my back out moment. Just is he telling the truth, or is he faking it a bit for Graves and X100? That is the question. So Betty absolutely motoring now onto the back of X100 and Phil Graves, the two riders that had broken away from a 24-man group leading the Category 4 race. But you can see them on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen of the right-hand side. You can see that big pack coming round the corner. They are not far behind, 14 seconds to be precise. So this is not game over yet. Graves, Betty and X100, they might be leading this race, but they have not done enough yet to win it. They're at 42.5 kilometres into the race, at 40.1 kilometres. These two may well have done enough to win the race, but which one of them will win it? That is the question, because Lionel Vuyasin and Michael Vink have been locked together since they broke away from the Category 1 leading group. 52 seconds at the moment back to that leading group. Paradians is in there, Kaminsky is in there, Dvert is in there. This is the chasing group. Kroll is there. And that is going to be a very, very interesting finale for third, fourth and fifth. First and second, well, is it going to be Vink or Vuyasin? Anybody's call at the moment. I can't pick them apart. I don't know if you can, but place your bets on who you think. No money can be exchanged at any point in time in betting on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club as of Emma's exchange. Emma's rules, that's what works. But Vujasin and Vink, they are indeed the two locked together at 40.8 kilometres into the race. Category 2, well, they're at 43.1. They are on the base of the climb. It's going to unfold very, very shortly here on the Wollongong climb in this Category 2 race. So Betty comes to the front. He does indeed. Graves an X100 glued to his wheel. It's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens. But, well, three riders, they are rolling up here, absolutely motoring. The question is, what is going to happen? What is going to happen with these three? Who is going to close this down? What is going to happen and what is going to happen behind, because the groups are all over the place. Ivan Nuki we are in with at the moment has Andrew Rushmer for company. He's got Camille Dainies as well. They are just ahead of Vink and Vujasin. Vink and Vujasin are flying. Well, Vink and Vujasin are flying. Ivan Nuki is in the mix as well at the moment, and the riders just almost feeling like they're at a standstill as Vink and Vujasin come past. What can they do? What can they do to close the gap? What can they do to stay on the wheel? Probably very little, but Vink and Vujasin motor past, and Ivan Nuki jumping straight back in there, and everyone trying to have a go. But at the front of the Category 2 race, it's Graves and X100. Betty has been now gapped by 4 seconds, but I don't discount him because they're going to drop down onto this section. They're going to roll in to the final part of the climb. Phil Graves was the rider who broke away from the 24-rider group, leading this Category 2 race with intention. Well, X100 came across to his wheel and he moves to the fore. He moves to the head of the race with intention. Who of these two are going to win this race today as Graves comes up side by side? They can look each other in the eye at the moment. The golden wheels are on both bikes as the two riders get caught by the group behind. The group behind is coming. Mads Buster, Matthias Van He, Christoph Thiem are coming. They've still got 800 metres to the finish line. It's going to be steep, but Buster comes past. Mads Buster goes over the top of the two leaders and he continues to push at the moment. They've gone past Moreno in Cat 3, but side Carradine is coming now. So Buster, Carradine, Vanny and Thiem, they're the riders that are now in the Category 2 group. But Mads Buster is riding away. So the question is, who can catch him? Who can go with him? Side Carradine is the rider moving at the moment. Buster is 5 seconds up the road. Can Carradine catch? Can Van He catch? Has Buster gone too early? Those are all the questions in my head at the moment, and probably many more in yours. But can Buster do it? Can Carradine close it down? Carradine's kicking hugely now. The gradient is 9.5%. It levels off a little here as they come underneath the polka dot banner, signifying the end of the time segment of climbing. There's still 500 meters to go to the finish line, and it is all uphill and steep. The pack is rolling behind. Have they saved the best till last? Can Cam Winfield do anything about this? Can Christoph Thiem respond? Can Mohamed El Alami do anything? The power is there. Sprat is there as well. This is going to be one race finish in Category 2. Well, we said this Category 2 race was winding up to be great, and great it is. Aside Carradine is now on the front of the pack, but Cam Winfield is coming. So is El Alami. They have got the banner in sight. The UCI banner is just around the corner, and Cam Winfield now is pushing. Cam Winfield is pushing on the front at 9 watts per kilo. Mad Buster goes at 9.7. Who is going to do this? Thiem is pushing too, so is Carradine. Cam Winfield comes round and takes his first win back on the Sunday Race Club in Category 2. Cam Winfield is back. Maz Buster, I think, takes second place. Christoph Thiem, third. Side Carradine, fourth. And Matthias Van He will take fifth place today in Category 2. phenomenal racing. I love that word. Phenomenal. It's the only thing I can use to describe that race because that was superb. Anyway, back to category 1. And at the moment is Michael Vink and Lionel Vuyasin neck and neck, side by side. They're on the final section of the climb, and now it is about to get steep under their wheels. Well, it's going to get hot in those pain caves because one of these two is going to win this race today. But who is it going to be? Is it going to be Lionel Vuyasin, silver medalist at the World Championships last week? Has he got wings on his wheels from that final? Is it going to be Michael Vink, the return of the Vink, back on the start line today? But we're in with Vuyasin just running into the finish now, and you can see the effort required to push on here. He's up and he's out of the saddle and he means business. So Lionel Vuyasin pushing on, sits back down, look of concentration on his face. The effort is there. He's up against Michael Vink. These two riders have been neck and neck for about 20 something kilometers of this race. They've dropped the rest of the category 1 pack. In fact, they were over a minute back at last count. Well, they've got 500 meters to go until the UCI banner signifies the end of qualifier race number 1. Vuyasin sits on Vink's wheel. Vink sits on Vuyasin's wheel. This is how it has been for a while. That's the polka dot banner signifying the end of the timed segment. Who is going to take it? Well, that is the question I really want to know, because I don't know who is going to take this now, because they have been locked together side by side all the way through this race. We're back in with Vuyasin for the finish. We're going to take a look at what it means and how it happens. But Vuyasin and Vink are side by side. Vuyasin kicks. Vuyasin's kicked at 10 watts per kilo. Vink goes at 10.7. This is early. They've got 200 meters now till the line. They can't see it yet, but Vuyasin is kicking on the front. Michael Vink is coming from the back. Who is going to take this? They're charging past the category 4 riders like they're standing still, but it's Vuyasin and Vink. Vuyasin is fading. Vink is coming. Vink kicks again. What has Vuyasin got? Vuyasin sits down. Vuyasin has got nothing. Michael Vink is going to take it. Michael Vink takes the win in category 1. He went up against Lionel Vuyasin and he got it in the last 50 meters. Lionel Vuyasin takes second place in category 1 today. What amazing racing. Well, category 1, first and second over the line. Michael Vink taking the win in 65 minutes, 25 seconds. Vuyasin 6 seconds back in the end. This is the run for third place, and I can tell you at the moment with 200 meters to go, it's Jasper Paradiens opened up at 3.6 watts per kilo. Paradiens absolutely pushing. Who is going to take this? Well, we've got the overall standings up. We're not going to see it. Sorry. Michael Vink. Well, Michael Vink takes the win, 65 minutes, 25 seconds. Lionel Vuyasin comes back 6 seconds back. I'm waiting to see who took third place, because there was going to be a massive run for the line. And I can tell you Jasper Paradiens does come through for third place today. Cam Winfield takes the win in category 2. From Mads Buster, Christoph Themeside, Keradina, Matthias Vanhe. In category 3, it was Konrad Fenderich from Nick Scolari, Robert Edwards, Henry Yeese and Paolo Kirchner. And in category 4, it was Lenador from Abello, from Robinson, from Cadiz and from Horsley. Well, you can just see the changes to the screen as the live results come through, and the top 5 now confirmed in category 1. So it was Michael Vink for the win, Lionel Vuyasin in 2, Jasper Paradiens took third place, Mikhail Kaminski took 4th, and Ricardo Panizza took 5. Siebdvert took 6th, Kroll 7th, Jacobs 8th, Plantero 9th, Millerstick 10th, and phenomenal racing by all. I'm going to say it out loud, I love the Wollongong course in Australia, because the racing is so close and really, really exciting. Well, thank you for being with me today. My name's Emma Martin. You can find me at biking_Emma on Instagram. Please do get in touch. Let me know what you're up to. Come and join us on the Sunday Race Club. Head over to MyWhoosh.com. You can find all the information you need there, whether you want to join the Sunday Race Club, whether you want to jump on a training ride, a live coaching session. In fact, I will be leading one of those tomorrow. Keep your eyes peeled on the MyWhoosh Facebook page for more information. Wow, that was qualifier 1. I can't wait for qualifier 2, and you've got to wait 7 days. Well, until then, stay safe, enjoy your riding, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.